Mr. Powell, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, Chair Castor, Ranking Member Graves, and members of the committee. I lead ClearPath. We advance conservative policies that accelerate clean energy innovation across all zero-emission resources. An important note, we receive no industry funding. We believe this select committee plays an important role in America's response to the global climate challenge and commend Chair Castor and Ranking Member Graves for holding this important hearing on reducing the risks of climate change. I plan to cover, first, climate change and its economic risks. Second, reducing these risks through global emissions mitigation and local adaptation. Third, the challenges of changing developing countries' emissions trajectories. Fourth, a strategy for America to lead on solving the global climate challenge. And fifth, opportunities to build on last Congress's bipartisan clean innovation record. Climate change is real. Global industrial activity is the dominant contributor, and its risks to society merit significant action at every level of government and private sector. Earlier this month, as we've heard, a CFTC subcommittee led by Commissioner Benham issued a report finding climate change could pose systemic risks to the U.S. financial system. According to NOAA, just 14 extreme weather events in 2018 caused $93.5 billion in damages. The Wharton Risk Center recently found that federally insured mortgage-backed securities account for more than 60% of our outstanding mortgage debt, crippling to $6.7 trillion since 2000. American taxpayers will inevitably foot this bill, subsidizing the risky choices of those remaining in harm's way. This system is unsustainable. Now, how to respond? To start, we can do much to adapt to climate risk with smarter resilience policy. According to FEMA, every dollar spent on pre-disaster mitigation saves on average $4. Louisiana's Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority master plan, for example, would spend $950 million in FY21 as part of their 50-year, $50 billion resilience and restoration plan. On mitigation, the science of climate change is harsh. The global atmosphere responds the same way to every ton of greenhouse gases. A molecule of CO2 from Birmingham has the same effect as one from Beijing. No country can single-handedly mitigate global climate risk, and every country must take care lest its policies risk domestic economic damage with little climate upside, or even worse, so-called leakage of their energy-intensive industries abroad, increasing emissions. These realities, however, are no excuse for inaction. Rather, they simply require us to design U.S. policy responses aimed toward global emission reductions, a massive innovation challenge. Let's take a look around the world. Despite tremendous progress, India, for example, still has 178 million people without reliable electricity. Why? Well, in 2018, the International Energy Agency found that when Indians could access electricity, it was on average twice as expensive as in the U.S. The share of global energy supplied by clean sources has barely increased since 2005. In other words, clean development is only just keeping up with economic development. Clean is not gaining ground. Clean technology systems must come to represent better, cheaper alternatives that are reliable 24/7, 365, so developing nations consistently choose them. If America does not provide the world with affordable and reliable clean energy, developing countries will continue reliance on our adversaries, China and Russia. In addition to its major build of new domestic coal, China is financing and building nearly 100 gigawatts more in other developing countries through Belt and Road, all without carbon capture, locking in emissions for decades. To meet this challenge, we must greatly increase pace and ambition. There are 4 legs to success. First, we must innovate. Major technology demonstrations would prove the viability of a portfolio of 24/7 clean technologies at full scale, covering everything from grid-scale storage and enhanced geothermal to carbon capture and advanced nuclear. Second, we must remove unnecessary regulatory hurdles needlessly slowing down projects. This includes new source review reforms, as Representative Griffith has recommended, and the processes around NEPA. Ranking Member Graves' Builder Act, H.R. 8333, for example, introduced last week, would remove barriers and accelerate the deployment of clean energy technologies. Third, we must build enough of this new technology to bring down costs. Smart incentives help innovators learn by doing, delivering the technologies here in the 2020s that developing countries can deploy in the 30s and 40s. Fourth, and finally, we must export the proven technology to new clean energy markets. Global emissions will decline when we have products and export support ready for rapidly growing countries like Nigeria to buy. No country will use a single clean power technology. Every country will need to find the right mix, given its national circumstances, resource endowments, and pre-existing industry. We hope policymakers will work towards a bipartisan solution based on the principle of more innovation and less regulation for clean technologies before the end of this Congress. There are a number of House-passed bills that, if appropriately combined with pending Senate legislation, will create moonshots for key clean technology. To address climate change, we must develop every tool to achieve clean, reliable, affordable, and exportable energy. Thank you again for this opportunity, and I look forward to the discussion.
Thank you very much.